Hey folks, Mike here with some impressions on Risk of Rain 2. Before we get started, I will mention this is an early access. It came out 3 days ago, so March 28th. The developers do intend to release this game fully sometime in 2020, so I figure we're still about a year and a half away from this game being, I'm saying this in air quotes, complete. The reason I say that is historically these guys have supported the first game for quite a few years after the fact, so even though it'll be fully released, I'm sure there'll be a lot more updates and content added in over years to come. So anyways, let's go ahead and start a single player here. I will choose the Huntress because she's a bit easier to play with when you're concentrating on talking and not necessarily aiming. And yeah, let's get our run started here. And I think the best way to talk about this game is to actually start with the first game. The reason I say that is, well, this is early access, so we don't quite know what direction they're going to go with this game just yet. There's some stuff that the first game did that's not in here yet, and there are hints that they may go in a different direction. But anyways, Risk of Rain 1. What made it so popular? Why was it such a good game? Why do people love it so much? You know, it was definitely my top 3 of that year when it came out. Overall, I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that it's just a unique game, right? There was not much out there like it. There hasn't been a ton like it since then either, so you know, overall we've got a pretty unique product in a lot of ways, where you know we have this kind of endless run-based game. Where, yeah, eventually you get good enough to actually complete a run, but to kind of help you get there, you know, this is kind of a roguelite, if you will, as people tend to call them that these days. You know, where you would get some permanent unlocks from run to run, so you would get different items, different characters and whatnot, and so you know, eventually just from playing the game so much, you would be able to make your life a bit easier with a wider selection of equipment available to you. Now, as you can see, you can't really choose your equipment, right? You're just being dropped stuff randomly. But oh, that's really bad. I don't want that. Yeah, just from picking up more unlocks, you know, you'd have more things at your disposal that can help you out, and a lot of the items stack as well, which made that game pretty unique. So for instance, if you had a certain item that would increase your attack speed, well, you can stack 10 of them to get 10 times that effect. So you get some pretty ridiculous combinations of things going on. You'd also get certain items that would play off of each other, and so that's kind of how the game would give you the incentive to keep going, especially once you complete it, right? 'Cause once you complete it, well, there's characters you've not unlocked yet. You kind of get tempted into playing higher difficulties because the challenge is kind of fun. At least in my opinion it is. Other people might not agree, but yeah, having a challenge is definitely part of the experience as well. So yeah, that kind of brings us up to Risk of Rain 2, where the big change in this game is, well, it's now 3D, believe it or not. The first game was actually in 2D, and they've somehow made the conversion work, despite what, you know, when I first heard that they're going to go 3D, I was, like many people, I was super skeptical that they can make it work, because the first game had some pretty tight movement, pretty specific stuff going on, and so for them to come back to this game and say, hey, we're adding a third axis, right? There's not very many games I can think of successfully went from 2D to 3D, especially when they were, you know, platformer-like games, which this first game definitely had some platforming elements to it. But lo and behold, here we are, playing a 3D version of Risk of Rain, which is actually really freaking good. You know, everything about this feels exactly like what I remember from the first game. Yeah, the controls, the movement, everything is really tight. All the items seem to work. Even some of the characters that I would not have expected to work in 3D freaking work amazingly well. And the developers have said that, you know, like, they're going to bring what makes sense over from the first game. But if they can't make it work in 3D, you know, don't expect everything to be back. Obviously, they'll bring back what people really enjoyed and what they can make work, but, you know, so far, practically everything from the first game. So, yeah, some of the characters are a little bit different because, you know, they had to adapt to 3D. But for the most part, the mechanics are still the same. They're still very familiar. So, I'm super impressed. Oh, just how well they've done with this. I'm extremely impressed with the work overall at this point. Alright, so teleporter's done. That means enemies will now stop spawning. So I'll quickly take time to wipe out a couple of these remaining dudes. And see if there's anything else I missed. This is a healing shrine, isn't it? Yeah, I don't want that. Items here. Take a bit of fall damage. So yeah, I think for the most part, it's not a whole lot has changed really, other than the extra dimension. Really, you know, a lot of the items function the same. One of the new, I guess, additions, and the fact that they've gone 3D, is the fact that all of your items show up on your character. So, looks like I've got a mohawk, but I've actually got a bird on my head, which is a wax quail. And yeah, so you wind up with just these ridiculous looking characters because you have a bunch of various bits and pieces stuck to them in a way that doesn't make much sense, but in a way that definitely works based off how the original game was. Oh hey, there's still a couple of these guys kicking around. But yeah, it's a really solid game. You know, the fact that all of your items can also stack was also something that made the original unique. And so, you know, for instance, I got an item that allows me to double jump, that feather, Hopoo feather. Well, if I had 2 of those, I get an extra jump. If I had 3 of them, I get another extra jump, right? So I can have 10 of them, I get 10 jumps in a row. Like, that's the kind of silly stuff that you can do. And so, of course, one of the things that the original game had was the ability to put in artifacts, or modifiers, if you will. And so, what did one of those artifacts allow you to do? Well, you can choose whatever item you wanted out of chests. So if it dropped, you know, a common white grade item, you can choose whatever common item you wanted, all the way up to, you know, the green ones and purple ones and whatnot. So you would wind up with some pretty wild combinations that you can make up because, yeah, you could choose exactly what you wanted for every pickup. So something that I've not really seen in this game, but that the original game had, was some of the items were very how can I say that? They would stack like permanently stack, in the sense that ooh, we can make, yeah, let's go for the challenge here. In the sense that, for instance, there's an item that would permanently increase your health for each kill you get. Now, in the previous game, like, you can stack that infusion, and so if you got 2 of them, you'd permanently gain 2 extra health points per kill. Whereas in this game they've limited it a bit, where you can only get 100 extra health. So you'd have to stack multiple infusions to increase your cap. So, you know, that's kind of the thing you would run into with the original game, which was like, hey, I can get the infusion right off the bat, and so every kill I get throughout the game is adding more and more health. Kind of a infinite health situation, which would be a little silly, but yeah, can't complain, right? That's kind of the style of game they're going for, and that's the thing. They made it fun. They made it both fun and challenging, depending which one you wanted. So you can definitely play it easy and not have too much of a hard workout on the easier difficulties, or you can bump it up to the hard difficulties, and this game would be pretty freaking tough. There's nothing here. However, it's so far off the edge of the map, I do want to actually get the unlocks here. Even though I still want to find the teleporter first if I can. But yeah, I think, you know, some of the challenge of this game obviously is being a bit luck-based in terms of getting the right items when you need them. Because I've definitely had games that would end because couldn't find any good item or good combinations for what I was doing, and so yeah, you'd end runs pretty quickly because of that. So there's a bit of a luck there. But obviously getting more and more items. Oops, I accidentally used my ability. That's kind of bad. Accidentally used what looks vaguely like a BFG. I'm not complaining. Ukuleles were good. I think that's one of the big things that's worth highlighting is there's very few items in this game that are bad. Like almost every item I picked up, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. That item's pretty good too. Maybe not the items that I would want, but practically everything in this game is pretty freaking good. Alright. So I've not seen a teleporter, which means it's then must be down here yet. Pro tip: if you're looking for the teleporter, you really can't see it because they do hide it a little bit. What you need to know is that the orange particles indicate that there's a teleporter nearby, usually. Because the... Oh, I want to stand in here if possible. It's the way this game tries to hint towards the teleporter being nearby by having the orange particles flying around. They're really subtle though, so a lot of people miss that. Because like that teleporter is pretty freaking hidden unless you come all the way in the back there to look at it. And even then, it blends in really nicely with the environment. It's gonna hurt a bit, but... Oh no, yeah, that's right, it's minus. Alright, got one of these done. There, that's gonna almost kill that one. Yep, perfect. Cool. Killing bosses gives you items. Got 2 stealth kits, which I have no idea how well that's gonna stack, but can't complain. So yeah, that's kind of my pro tip for this video. Look for the orange particles if ever you're trying to find a teleporter. I think the developer has... yeah, that's actually worth mentioning. I think about it. Developers did put out a post yesterday, a couple hours ago. You know, the game's only been out in early access for like 3 days, and the reaction is like, "Oh wow, like, holy, this is blowing expectations." You know, they knew how well the first game did. They knew there's a lot of people out there who really enjoyed that first game, but yeah, this is a huge risk in a lot of ways, right? The fact that they went from this 2D to 3D, they changed quite a few mechanics, because, like it or not, that's kind of the adaptations they had to do for 3D. And the reception so far has been enormously positive. And so they're kind of blown away at just, one, how well it's done, how quickly it reached top 5 most played on Steam, I believe. So, you know, this thing climbed up the leaderboard really, really fast in that sense. And yeah, overall people are being super positive about practically everything about it. Like, there's definitely room for improvement, but for the most part people have been super happy about it. You know, people have played the first game a lot, and yeah, they're kind of blown away, but at the same time, you know, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, oh, I probably didn't want to spend that. Oops. Oh well, we'll go with it. I thought that was a different kind of shrine. Anyways, yeah, I'm sure they're really happy with how well it's done so far. You know, for a game that literally just launched in early access 3 days ago, and to have that validation that everyone's being super positive and happy about it, I'm sure that's pretty huge for them. And you know, as far as just playing this game goes, yeah, I'm definitely hyped to see how it'll do. Oh, I see what happened. I lost all my items. I lost all my items and it became this war banner, which is, I'm not gonna say the least useful thing, but not exactly the most useful one. Actually, the boss is not too far. I'm probably gonna be just outside the circle standing here, aren't I? Yeah. Oh boy. I think I'll finish this level and then probably call it here. Because I'm sure you get a good idea of what the game is by now. A little short. Oh boy, there's a lot of these dudes. I should mention, there's multiplayer. You would have seen it on the main menu. 4-player co-op currently. I believe the developers actually tested it, and it does work up to like 8 players. They might be slightly limited by the Steam API that they used. I know that's something that they mentioned. They're gonna look into it. Right now it's designed for 4, so you know, maybe more in the future. How did I miss that? I need to get in the zone too. Deal with the normal enemies fine, it's this boss I can't deal with easily. Right, and 8 of all my all my green items became the bird. So now I can jump forwards a lot. Not the best combo, but you know what? It's not too bad. Oh, hey, it'll get me out of trouble pretty quick. Oh, is he doing his thing? Oh no, he's not doing it yet. Oh boy. There, I missed that time. Ah. Oh. Like, almost done. Oh yeah, there's some overlap. Okay, good. Excellent. Oh, there we go. This is why I have to get out. Just because the boss does this big vacuumy attack thing, which causes it to heal very fast, which is unfortunate. When you're playing co-op, it's not as bad because you can easily deal some damage to him. So here's the thing. Until the boss is defeated, it's a tough situation to be in. Because until the boss is defeated, enemies will keep spawning. Come on. Come on. But I also have to stand in the circle. Oh, that was good. I need to get rid of that. Okay, let's get back in the circle. This is just a bad situation to be in. I'd focus more on the boss, but I can't really do a whole lot about it until this is out. There we go. That's what I needed. Come on, come on. Whoo! Let's stay out of trouble here for a couple of moments. Oh, hey. Oh! That was my fault. I targeted a barrel and it killed me. Oh well. It's a good way to end the video though. Gives kind of a good idea of what this game's all about. So yeah, so far no ending, no progression necessarily. There's unlocks and stuff like that, which I'm not gonna click for spoiler reasons, but you know, they have added prismatic trials, which is kind of a weekly challenge run of sorts, so there is some new stuff being introduced, but right now it feels like, yeah, it feels like an early access version of a sequel where it's surprisingly good and complete up at this point. So I've been pretty happy about it. Looking forwards to a lot of the improvements and stuff that they're going to be adding long term. But so far, it's looking really, really good, and definitely worth the money, in my opinion. And with that said, this is Mike here. I'll see you guys next time.